Alrighty, here we are. Hello and welcome everybody to the penultimate round here in ORL Tier 1. And for the first time in what feels like forever, the duo is back. I am joined by J-Man in the comms box. How are you, mate?
Fantastic. Thank you, Lindsay. It's lovely to be back in the commentary box for what is such a huge round in the RL season. We're at the business end now, and the stakes couldn't be higher for Qatar this evening. It is going to be an absolute ripper. Two championships on the line. Two could be decided today as well. So it'll be awesome to see. And we've got a great grid lining up as well.
Yeah, and all the competitive guys out here tonight. ZK, Oxchiller, SVYT, Taipan TJ, Munry, just the lot. Everybody is here. Lindsay Dickey as well, or Lord Mahavir, Campbell Adams as well. So we have a very, very quick top end of the Tier 1 grid tonight, and I'm really fascinated to see how it all goes, as I've seen a lot of these guys race around here just a couple weeks ago. And, yeah, I think that it's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, so drivers now coming out for their opening runs, and we will give you a bit of a reminder, if you will, if you haven't been paying attention or if you've just tuned in for the first time. The Tier 1 Drivers Championship is the biggest one for today because Lord Mahavir and the Ferraris leading Big Munry by 17 points, 2 races to go. So that's going to be a really interesting one today. If he can outscore Big Munry by 10 points or more, then the championship is his. Otherwise, it will continue on to Brazil, and that is probably the main one. There's a big battle in the middle pack at the moment between Clammy Kid, Zonix, SV, and Tartar, but Clammy Kid and Tartar aren't racing today, so that hurts their odds a little bit. And then you've got the overall constructors, which is the big one. Mercedes' efforts in Tier 2, provisionally, of course, depending on potential steward inquiries. We're not sure yet, but they have confirmed that the overall Constructors' Championship will go on to the final round after their 1-3 performance. So it's 26 points the lead that Racing Bulls has over Mercedes. And if you just think about it, only in round 9, about 4 rounds ago, RB led Mercedes by over 180 points. So what a turnaround it's been for your team, Lindsay, and they are ever so close to making that overall Constructors a second consecutive one a reality this season.
Yeah, look, I'm just hunting for any of the titles, whether it's overalls, Tier 1, Constructors, Tier 2, Constructors. Obviously, we can't get Tier 1, but Tier 2 or overalls is really, really what I'm gunning for. We're leading Tier 2 provisionally at the moment, and overalls would be great, but I think it's just a little bit too late. We're still in the contention, but with Campbell Adams racing tonight, probably next week, it's going to be a hard task as Fat Ferret kicks off our qualifying session with a 21.8, but I think that it's going to come down to the absolute wire for us in the overalls, but I think that VCARB will probably just be able to take it with the caliber of drivers they have underneath them.
Yeah, Campbell Adams and Zonix today. Speaking of, Campbell Adams has absolutely blown everyone else's lap out of the water there. 7/10 ahead of Lord Mahavir. You just think if Campbell Adams was racing the whole season, this championship probably would have been his. And Oxchiller has come in with a 2/10 buffer over Campbell Adams as well. We know the quality of Oxchiller as well. So we got, as you said, a lot of great quality here this evening. So I can't wait to see what happens. And maybe those championship contenders could get a bit bogged down in the midfield, which is an unusual thing to say for Tier 1, but that's the case. We're looking at the reserves are really just dominating at the moment. And also for the overall Constructors' Championship, McLaren technically, mathematically still in the running, although their odds are dwindling by the race. They're 100 points back, so I think they'll be settling for P3, but they do have Oxchillo in the McLaren as well. They could provide a really good contest. So plenty going on that front. Obviously, RB have wrapped up the Tier 1 Constructors' Championship, so nothing going on there. And Ferrari pretty comfortably in second as well. So mainly the battle between Mercedes and RB is one to keep our eye on, and obviously Mahavir versus Munry. And Munry currently P3, Mahavir P5, so not a bad start for Munry.
Yeah, it's one leg up already, but I'm sure that Mahavir definitely will find himself making more time up as we go through this qualifying session. But he definitely has been at odds with his pace in the last few rounds. He's still very, very quick, but as the newer reserves that are quicker and quicker just start flowing and flowing in, he's definitely been feeling the pressure, which is how we've seen this turnaround in the championship so dramatically, I think.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm just watching SV at the moment come to the line, a 21.7, so not bad for the first lap of the session. We've got a few Tier 2 reserves jumping in as well to help us out. Guga, Com United, JD Juicebox as well. All pretty solid drivers in Tier 2, as is Mickey as well, who's an absolute gun, we know that. But it looks like PS Bomber's just about got that championship wrapped up, although he has taken it to the final round. So you never know what Mickey could do in that last round, but unfortunately, it's really out of his hands. He has to hope for a miracle to happen. But yeah, so real quality in this lobby today, as most of the drivers have finished their first runs, and we're not too far off breaking into the 119s here, which is very impressive. I think the Tier 2 pole time was in the 121s, 121.2 about, so it just shows the real pace that some of these drivers have in Tier 1.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal to see because obviously the tier that's always been lacking behind since ORL's beginning has been Tier 1, and now we're here tonight, around, 13, Qatar, and some of the quickest drivers in the region are here in ORL Tier 1, reserving or full time, and we're seeing them fight it out here for what is pretty huge stakes in a championship fight here, and I think it's just such a big improvement.
Yep, so just about halfway through this qualifying session, really can't wait to see what happens in the race today. As I think Zonix is about to kick off a lap, or is very low on battery, so maybe just cooling down from one. But everyone pretty much following the same kind of schedule at the moment, with everyone coming into the pits and coming back out. So we'll see what happens on that front at the moment. RB, 2nd and 10th at the moment. They'll be comfortable. If they outscore Mercedes today, I think they'll be pretty happy with that. The Tier 2 has been their liability. Tier 1 has always been strong all season long, as really that lineup has carried them through. They've always had a driver up the front of the field winning races. I think they've got 7 out of the 12 race wins this season. So RB will never really be too worried about their Tier 1 performance. And Mercedes will need to find a way. They have picked it up quite significantly in the last few rounds, but that's why the lead blew out so far in the first place. Just the difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2, and RB were good enough in Tier 2, but Mercedes just were a bit off it at the start. But now Big Manor and ZK seem to have found a pretty good pairing here.
Yeah, and when I bring ZK into the team, I was pretty happy. I know that Munri and ZK get along well, and I just thought good team chemistry could just help the pace as well, just good morale in the team, and I think that I tied that one up pretty well, and also just a pretty weak start to the season with the second driver not being that fast paired alongside Munri, and also like Munri had a lot of disconnect issues and incidents and stuff, and Abyss was just running away with it. So I think that the resurgence that my Mercedes boys have shown, I think I've been more than happy with that. And even if we don't end up picking any of the titles, I'll be more than happy and more than ready to go into next season, because next season, as we know, no draft.
That's right. It is going to be uncharted territory for RRL. There'll be a few drivers making moves around, and it will also put the onus on the team principals to really make sure they get their teams nailed down, and also there's probably going to need to be a bit of negotiation skills involved, Lindsay. I know you're experienced with that, and a few other team principals might have to step up their game for next season, but there's not a whole lot of seats out there, and there's a lot of drivers that want them, so plenty of good quality amongst the field.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's gonna add a really interesting element. There's gonna be the silly season will be pretty exciting to see, and we're gonna have a nice long off season for the drivers to really just recuperate over the Christmas break and hone their skills and come back even stronger. Maybe we'll see a few surprises in championship battles like PS Bomber this season in Tier 2 came out of nowhere to compete for that Tier 2 championship. So hopefully we see a few more good stories like that next season.
Yeah, as, not to bring a downer onto this qualifying session, but obviously another thing to take note now that team principals have been brought up in negotiations and stuff. This round is obviously a tribute to someone who is very important to ORL, MX. TP for Red Bull and Ferrari, many constructors under his belt, and I think one of the most impressive memories I have of MX is just how determined he was to hold on to drivers. Do you remember last season or the season before with Hudman? Like he refused to give up a driver, and he'd always manage to pull through somehow. And I think that the Ferrari TP next season is gonna have to live up to that.
Yeah, MX is he's known as a wizard of negotiation. I think absolute superstar. He worked very hard to make sure he had the team exactly how he wanted it, and it always has been how he's wanted it set up. His Ferrari team, great success in the past. You can see how the hard work paid off with the quality of lineups. Even when he stepped away from driving in the last couple seasons, he's been able to put together some really strong lineups. So it's a testament to his dedication and determination to get his teams that way. So fittingly, this round is dedicated to MX, as we mentioned, and you would have seen in the Tier 2 race earlier today. And hopefully all the drivers will be racing in that spirit as well. And while obviously a lot of people will be upset and grieving over his loss, I think it's a great time to also celebrate his contribution. I think MX would be absolutely love to see the show go on, which is what he would have wanted to see us out here racing, finishing off the season, and in a competitive way as well.
Yeah, and I think he would have been really happy with his Ferrari man of Mahavir fighting up the front, but not to dim away from that. But we have a formation lap to continue on the topic of MX, but most crucially, Campbell Adams here in this qualifying session took provisional pole back. Oxchillo invalidated, Munry invalidated, and ZK has just been blocked on his lap by Mahavir. Mahavir just sat in his road and ran him off the track.
Interesting. So, if that does get reported, then there could be a potential qualifying ban coming Mahavir's way. Obviously, the qualifying incidents generally don't get a race penalty, but if he were to pick up a qualifying ban in the final race and the championship is still alive, that could really have a huge impact. So, I didn't actually see the incident, but if it is his fault, he could get in a bit of trouble for it. Especially in such a late stage of the season, the penalties will be a bit harsher for that kind of behaviour. So we'll see what happens on that front. But drivers now coming out for either their second last or last runs. And I believe Big Manor is on a run, but slightly down on his lap. There's 4 minutes left in the qualifying session. So we will have a look at the championship contender here on board as he makes his way through the tricky Sector 2, goes off the track, but he will keep that valid. He won't anymore, though, as he cuts the track there and rightfully backs out of that one. I don't think he was ever going to make any improvement based on the start of his lap. So,
sorry,
unfortunately for Big Munry, he will get another crack at it, though.
My doorbell is being absolutely spammed.
That's all good. So, yeah, Big Munry staying in P3 for the moment, and you've got Campbell Adams, who's sitting pretty up the top, just ahead of Oxchillo. Lord Mahavir's down in 6th, not exactly where you want to be, sitting in the pits, waiting for these final runs, which are going to be absolutely crucial in determining what will happen in the race. Mickey's a few tenths up on his time as well. There's a few drivers out on laps. Mickey, Zonix, Com United, Coistra, and Oscar Piastri go. Mickey goes 6th fastest, pegs Lord Mahavir down to P7, who's usually a pretty good qualifier, so not the greatest start, and it's going to put a bit of pressure on him. He's going to have to get his one final lap absolutely right if he wants to start up towards the front and he's got quick drivers around him as well. SV and Zonic's just behind. They are no slouches in terms of pace. And then you got Mickey and Taipan and ZK just in front. So a lot of work for him to get to Big Mandarin unless he can put a lap together right at the end here.
Yeah, we've already seen Oxchiller retire from the session. He's content with a .3 behind Campbell Adams, and yeah, it looks like the end of qualifying is going to be something special. As the report on the doorbell being spammed was my mum accidentally locked herself out of the house while while mowing the lawn. So, absolute scenes. But on another note, Taipan TJ in the Alpine putting himself in the mix. I don't know if you touched on that, but he went P5. And
yeah, it's a great lap.
Yeah, he has been getting slowly better over the course of the season, just quicker and quicker and quicker, as Campbell Adams comes out for his final run now. And I think we've got to go on board with Campbell Adams once he comes around to start the lap. But in the meantime, while we wait for that, we'll look down to, no, not to Com United, to, who do we want to go to? Juicebox, who's heading through the second sector, trying to push on now in the second Alpine car. Geordie Slater, the Alpine TP, definitely isn't impressed, I don't think, with his Alpines this season. Taipan has thrown up the fair few outstanding results, but other than that, they've been quite a weak team this season, I'd have to say.
They do still have Noodles on the roster, so they'll be hoping he can come back for one more round, but besides that outlier, Alpine have really just been a pretty middle-of-the-road team. Taipan's pretty much carried them the way through, so yeah, not the best season for that team, but who were contending for the overalls last season. In the meantime, Campbell Adams will kick us off for the final runs. Mickey's retired from the session, so no better than P6 for him. So it's Campbell Adams who will be first across the line, and he has, and then it will be the two Mercedes and Lord Mahavir, who I think are pretty close to each other on the track. So we'll keep a close eye on the track map there. But Campbell Adams, the man on pole currently by a tenth over Oxchillo, 3/10 over Big Manry, who's the nearest possible competitor. He's got a Alpine sitting in front of him, hopefully gets out of the way and does so. What's the split time? He's up a little bit. So can he consolidate this pole position? The man who's driven in OFI is a front runner in OFI, one of the best drivers in the region, is putting it all on display here. ZK has a 5-second penalty for a collision with Guga, and that was on his lap too. Big Manor is retired, so no improvement from the Mercedes drivers. I'm not sure what's gone wrong there, but a huge collision, and now Campbell Adams is down through the second sector. Is he opening up a possibility here for other drivers? He's getting really close to the track limits there, just stays inside, and this has been a dynamite third sector, it has to be said, by Campbell Adams, but will it be enough to improve his pole position? He's going to be coming to the line now. It's been a pretty tidy lap, and it is going to be an improvement just slightly, up to 120.3. We're going to look at Mahavir, who's also up. He's about 7/10 behind Big Manry in P3. He just needs to keep it together. This could be close to around the top 5 area. Keep in mind, ZK has a 5-place grid penalty, so Mahavir provisionally P6. But what can he do here to the line? It's going to be P4, and the two championship contenders are going to be starting alongside each other on the second row. You could not paint this picture any better. What about Taipan TJ, though? He's coming to the line now.
Yeah, so Taipan TJ, I was looking along with him for a little bit of his lap, so now to the line. He's about 800s up the last time I saw. Now to the line, 970, only a 100th improvement. Couldn't put himself ahead of Mahavir, but after the grid penalty, he will be finishing the qualifying in the top 5. Fat Ferret now rounding the final corner in the Haas car. He's 2/10 up on his lap. That could get him into the top 10. As to the line now, we'll have to see. No, it stays 11th for Fat Ferret, but definitely a confusing end to this qualifying session with ZK getting a grid penalty on his hot lap.
Lobby restart.
Yeah, lobby restart. So, definitely not what you want to see. So that means Taipan TJ will be in P6 for the start. So the Mercedes 3 and 5. I don't think they'll be too annoyed with that, but I think Munry will probably be annoyed that he couldn't get a final lap in properly.
Yeah, it's a shame, but there is still at a good position. It's Mercedes 3-5, so They would have been doing well to catch Oxchillo and Campbell Adams. So yeah, I think it's probably about an accurate representation of the qualifying session.
Yeah, and I think it was very close as with the lobby restart. Are we gonna leave the lobby or are we just staying in and letting them all retire?
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for the formation lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's just leaving.
Yeah. Alright. New lobby completely time. Alrighty, and we are back here for ORL Tier 1 racing. We are getting ready to go for 29 laps of Qatar? Something like that.
Yes it is.
And yeah, so J-Man and I are back. We're just waiting for strategies to be applied and everybody to ready up, and then we get ready for the race here. So while we wait, it's time for the very minimal amount of facts I remember about Qatar, because it's been like 3 weeks since I commentated there. The circuit length is 5.419 kilometers in its current state since 2023, with 16 corners, with the race lap record being set by Max Verstappen in his RB19 last year with a 1 minute 24.319. And I'll let you take this one away, J-Man. Oh wait, no, it's the formation lap.
Yeah, formation lap.
Forgot about that.
Yep, so formation lap for in honour of MX, as we mentioned in qualifying. So we'll just let this one go in silence as we remember a person who was a huge part of this league for a long time. So thank you, MX, and this one's for you. The driver's now approaching the start line, and the order is correct, which is very good to see. And it's going to be Campbell Adams on pole from Oxchillo. What a classy front row of the grid that is. And then the two championship contenders on row 2. This is going to be a spectacle here off the start. And the final drivers just slowly straggling their way to the grid. And this is going to be the biggest start of the season so far. The penultimate round, everything on the line for Manri and Mahavir, and for Mercedes and RB, who got their parking right, I wonder. We're going to have a look as the lights will come on in a moment as Globtrip pulls up to the line. It's going to be Campbell Adams from pole as the lights come on for the second last time in Tier 1 this season. And we are underway. A great reaction from Campbell Adams. Not so for Oxchillo. It's a good start for Big Manry, who's already along down the outside. A big snap for Apex. For Grateful Dog, who's already off the track. And it's wheel to wheel between Oxchillo and Big Manry, who's trying to hold it around the outside. I reckon Dusk went off the track there, but he gets the position. Mahavir looks to be following through as well. It's wheel to wheel. Oxchillo defends Mahavir, and Big Manry gets a little bit of a gap between himself and his championship rival. How critical could that be in the early stages of this race? And now Mahavir is getting followed by ZK very closely, who will be looking to do a job for his teammate here this evening. It's a good start for Big Manry. Campbell Adams very comfortably in the lead at this stage, has nearly pulled a DRS gap. Coistra has fallen off out the back. And what's his name? Grateful Dog, sorry, is gotten past him into 15th. But Campbell Adams now second ahead of Big Manry, who's gotten probably the best start he could have hoped for there.
Yeah, moving up into P2 I think is going to be crucial, with Oxchillo, although they're not teammates, probably working as a rear gunner here, as the McLaren isn't going to have an easy time re-overtaking. We saw it at Qatar in VSC a few weeks ago. I know that a lot of people wouldn't have watched that race, but I was in the box for that one, and it was not super easy to overtake, so I think that it is going to be quite interesting as we move further down. SBYT is going to be under pressure from Taipan TJ, as well as the first fast lap is a 25.3, which is obviously our first lap, as Chillo is going to go down the inside here on Munry. They swap places for the P2 spot, and I think they'll just continue to swap. DRS Chicken definitely going to play a factor here with such a fast grid, and Taipan TJ falling off just a little bit from SVYT at the bottom of the top 8. So SV not as quick as maybe he used to be, but he's definitely still punching his weight.
Yeah, really good, clean driver as well. Represented ORL in the Team R5 event, so he is the benchmark of the league. He's really highly respected, so awesome to see him still going along at this point. But Big Munry lost that position to Oxchillo, but his eyes will be firmly fixated on his mirrors as his championship rival Lord Mahavir is right behind him. He's there waiting for the opportunity to pounce, but Big Munry has shown some really good pace. Oxchillo not looking as quick as he did in qualifying in the race, and he's currently being chased down quite a bit by the Mercedes driver, and they've already lost 2 seconds to Campbell Adams, who is far and away the man on top so far, and I suspect that will continue to be the case for the foreseeable future. But we're going to look down this main straight again. There could be plenty of fireworks here in the early stages as Big Munry now chasing down Oxchillo as Campbell Adams continues to pump in those lap times. Oxchillo staying as wide as he possibly can, but here we go. Could it be 3 wide into turn 1? Mahavir going for the double overtake. Munry takes a wide line, gives him a wide berth as well. He's going to be very careful here to not get turned around. He keeps the position. Mahavir worked hard to try and get through, couldn't do it. Oxchillo's down to P4 now, but it's not over yet. Munry defending the inside line. Mahavir just stays behind for the moment. Oxchillo with a really good run as well. This is getting really tight here as through off the track and into the braking boards goes Oxchillo there. And he is still in 4th position when he comes back on the track. But ZK really pressurising now. And those 2 championship contenders are now right in next to each other and out the front of that pack.
Yep, and now the battle is going to be even more exciting as they are within the DRS as the OFI channel comes into the chat. So hello, and I could only guess that that is probably the main man Slammer, and hopefully you can sit back and relax and watch the race as there's a yellow flag. And who is that? That is Taipan CJ or Trent Newton in the Alpine, who's fallen down to P10. As actually further down the back there's a little bit of a gap forming here as SVYT kind of dropping back into his own train off the top 6 with Zonix and Fat Ferret right behind him. But now we move back up to the front as Mahavir is going to try and make a move for the lead here. I mean, not a lead, the lead for P2 here on Munry, but Chillo goes for the double overtake. He goes down the inside, but the championship rivals are still side by side. Munry getting the squeeze to the left-hand side of the track, but he has the apex for the next sector as Mahavir going side by side here with Munry, and Mahavir manages to get the place, but Oxchillo got 2 places down, 1 straight as further down the back there. It is too wide through the double right-hander. Zonix loses out to Fat Ferret, who gets up 2 places as well. And I think the common theme we're seeing down that main straight at Qatar is the double overtake. The 3rd car back in the train is ending up at the front of the train.
Loving this battle early on in this race. Lord Mahavir fought very hard to stay ahead of Big Munry. Awesome racing, very clean from those 2 so far. Hopefully it remains that way for the rest of the race, but Oxchillo really fighting hard for this one as Campbell Adams clearing the field by 3 seconds. And it looks like it's just going to be the race for P2 at the moment. ZK is right there behind Big Munry, trying to offer as much support as he can, and Mickey's held onto this pack really well as well. So he is rounding out the back of that, and then a big battle from 7th down to 10th with Fat Ferret, Zonix, SV, and Taipan TJ, the midfield runners in the championship as well. Really still fighting it out for those lower points places. But here we go down the main straight again. Always action here down at the main straight at Qatar. And this time it's going to be Mahavir who's going to be on the attack on Oxchillo. Is he going to offer up much of a defence? He does similarly to last time. He goes down the inside. Oxchillo breaks late. He wants to hang on to that position for now. Mahavir is caught underneath there. It's better to be on the high line out of turn 1. And Oxchillo shows us the way, shows us his experience, and holds P2. But Big Munry getting really close again. Very difficult to overtake if you're not already a little bit alongside for this first sector. So everyone holds stations through there for now, but Oxchillo very slow. and Mahavir maybe sensed opportunity for a moment there, but nothing doing. And this 5-car train continues on for the next lap.
Yeah, someone who's really impressing me in this 5-car train is Mickey. He's only 4 tenths behind ZK as the Mercedes Tier 2 driver, really showing what he can do here in Qatar under the lights in P6 currently in a Tier 1 race. He's absolutely flying out there.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch. The Tier 2 Championship contender being right up there, just hanging on to the back of that pack as well. So plenty of pace about him at this early stage. We will keep an eye on the 2 big battles that are going on here. Campbell Adams running his own race, but into the final corner. Mahavir having a look down the inside of Oxchillo. That could have been a mistake to go for that there because he's compromised that exit. And all of a sudden, Big Mannery's back in the game. Although it has worked out here, Oxchillo's going to lose out big time. He's going to lose 3 places, and ZK's now flying through. He always has the pace to get past the Ferrari and make a triple overtake there, but he just got squeezed for room there, and the battle continues because Big Mannery is right on that rear axle, just has to settle in behind the Ferrari there for now, but he's got a really good run. Is he going to have a look down that outside of Mahavir? No, he's not. He's going to hang on, but he's gone off the track as the Ferrari opens the door for the Mercedes, and now it's really close. And look at the drivers behind. Oxchillo nearly up the back. Mannery around the outside, keeps it in the track. A beautiful move there from the Mercedes into P2. Hangs onto it. Mahavir just hanging on to that third as well. Oxchillo is getting really interested, but it is still going. Everyone's still facing the right way, which is incredible to see. And this racing in the opening stint of this race is beautiful to watch. I hope it continues for the rest of this race. It's great entertainment.
Yeah, only 6 laps in. We're not even near the pit window yet. Like we saw in Tier 2 with the early safety car. This is about the lap that it came out, but here in Tier 1, no safety cars as of yet. As Oxchillo makes a mistake, ZK, his brother, now is going to be attacking him for the P4 position. But as we head round the final corner now, the eyes will go back to Lord Mahavir, who's trying to make a move on his championship rival. He has a bit of a snap there, and he also did go off the track, which is what allowed Munnery to go through, so penalties could also end up playing a factor. But here goes Mahavir in the DRS. Oxchillo trying to make the best of it as well. Goes down the inside. We're going to see the third car go again into P2 in this train. But Munnery not giving this one up yet as they're still side by side as we head towards the second corner now. Mahavir is able just to hold on to the place. Munnery will not give this one up so easily though as we head through the double right-hander, but he drops off a little bit further than last lap. And now the Mercedes are back together in P4 and P5 with Oxchillo leading this train. And they will continue battling as we head into the hairpin. This is where we saw both of the P3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 go side by side on the last lap as there's a McLaren round, and it would be Glob Drip in the first sector as Mahavir is going to be under pressure from Munnery still through the middle sector. He's just showing the nose at any possible opportunity as we head through this fast flat out section before you quickly cut across back to the left. You see a lot of drivers run wide at this corner as it's really bumpy on the apex. Is now into the triple right for the final sector. Mahavir is in the prime position to retake the P2 as we've been seeing, but if Munnery's close enough he could maybe have a stab at it too. But Oxchillo definitely trying to show his pace. He's pulled a little bit more of a gap than he has previous times while in that P2 place, but Munnery is right up underneath the rear wing as we see Mickey get a 3-second time penalty, just pushing a little bit too hard. But now as we head onto the main straight again, entering towards lap number 9 here, Mahavir in the DRS is going to be under pressure from Munnery as we head down the straight. He's gaining and gaining and gaining, goes the Silver Arrow, but Mahavir not wasting time either, goes down the inside of Oxchillo, who's trying to hold this the long way round. Munnery now trying to get involved as well. In the background, he tried to find a way. He tried to find a pocket of space through turn 2, but couldn't quite find it. And for the first time down this straight since the race start, they stay in the same order they were at the start of the DRS zone.
Yeah, wow, Oxchillo just had a little enough there. He's fighting hard, and usually when you see a train like this, drivers will be willing to let each other pass lap by lap, but in this situation with the championship battle on the line, Big Mannery trying a lot harder to force Mahavir into a mistake and do everything he can to do so. He doesn't want to just exchange easy passes because even a couple points difference, even if he beats Mahavir by 1 place, it's not really going to have the impact on the championship that he would want. So he'd prefer that he pressures Mahavir into a mistake that loses him a couple of positions and really makes a difference in this fight, because finishing around the same spot isn't really going to do anything for him unless it's a win. So that's a really interesting factor, and I'm sure that'll be in his head as well as we are coming round onto lap 9 now. Campbell Adams 6 seconds clear of Oxchillo, and he's going to continue to build that gap, and he's going to try and make it as easy for himself as possible when he eventually has to pit. But here we go down the main straight. Oxchillo defends the inside this time, makes Mahavir go the long way around, but look at Big Munnery down the inside. Steams down the inside of both of them and takes back second place. And that is what we've seen all race long. As Lindsay mentioned before, the double overtake. P4 is the place to be at the moment, as Big Munnery now back into P2, and the positions continue to change. Oxchillo is pretty much bump drafting Mahavir through that set of corners, and there's been a yell. It's Glob Drip once again, really struggling. He's about to get lapped here, I believe, after he just pitted. So not the greatest of days for that McLaren, as Com United now pitting as well. So the Red Bulls at the back of the pack. All 16 drivers still running at this stage, and a 3-second penalty to Grateful Dog in the Sauber. And we're just going to have a quick look at this midfield battle between Fat Ferret, Taipan, SV, and Zonix. We haven't really given it much love so far, but brilliant to see these guys fighting it out as well. And Fat Ferret, who won the pre-season race all those months ago, and it was here actually at Qatar that he won it. So he'll be hoping to repeat his heroics today, but it hasn't been the season that's panned out well for him.
Yeah, and I think he's just going to keep his head down going into the next season, as Zonix nearly hit the back of SVYT as they're actually going side by side. But we're going to quickly go back up to the leaders, as we're going to see Mahavir move up into P2, but Chillo holds station. So now further back down to the train, SVYT is going to lose out nearly to Zonix, but manages to hold position. Type and TJ moving up into P7 past Fat Ferret, so this train will continue to battle as well, and up into P7 Taipan goes. And now will he be able to stretch the legs, or is he going to be stuck in this train once again, as Munnery and Mahavir went side by side through the double rights, and Munnery got the place back. So maybe a mistake again from Mahavir through that double right-hander section, where we've seen him do it one time previously, which caused nearly a huge moment between this entire 5-car train, as Mickey's still hanging onto the back of them here, despite having that 3-second time penalty. And I think we'll probably see more and more flow in as we go through this race, as track limits are very, very tricky to manage here at Qatar when you're pushing at such a level. But I think that it's going to be the main job of these leaders, not just to have pace, but to keep it within these white lines, because any 3-second time penalty could ruin a driver's race in such a close train such as this one, as Munnery still leading this train. Campbell Adams 7.5 seconds out in front. He is on another level here in Qatar as we head through the penultimate corner. We've seen Mahavir go for a move here previously, but he won't go for it on Munnery this lap as we head on to lap 11 of this race. As we round the final corner, the Ferrari will be in the DRS and the slipstream of Munnery for what feels like the millionth time already, even though it's only been 11 laps. Oxchillo in the background also hunting, and he's going to go to the right-hand side, and Mahavir, I think, is going to hold the place. Chillo still commits to it on the inside. There's a little bit of wheel rubbing there between the Mercedes and the McLaren and the Ferrari, but nothing changes up the front, as just this position swaps down the straight were the ones that we saw held, and Chillo wasn't able to get that P4 to P2 overtake done like he has done on previous attempts. So maybe just a little bit more battery use there from Mahavir that time.
Yeah, nicely done from Mahavir's type as he goes deep into that corner. So Oxchillo gets it back, and it might not be for long though, because Mahavir's still there down that inside. He yields the position, and he goes really slow. He must have gotten an illegal overtake or something, I think, or I don't know what happened there. But Big Munnery is now through into second, but Oxchillo going really slowly, and he goes slowly again, and now Big Munnery is having a bit of wheel banging with him. And all of a sudden, I'm not sure what's happened to Oxchillo here, but really struggling. And now Mahavir going wheel to wheel with him, but it looks like order is restored, and they've just remained within DRS as well. So a bit of an unusual moment there, but back on track for now. I will definitely say that out of the drivers in this pack, I think Big Munnery has definitely looked the most assured of them throughout the race. And into the pits comes Big Munnery, and that's an early decision. I wonder if he's trying an undercut or if that's damage related.
Oh, is this contact down the straight? Mahavir hit Oxchillo as they head down towards the turn 1 braking zone. That could have been an absolutely huge crash, and Chillo went almost sideways down the straight as the battle continues to heat up here as the pit stop window approaches as Chillo goes back down the inside of the second corner. Now Mahavir is trying this the long way round of the double rights. Chillo has to let him go. I think he probably got an illegal overtake again, but the undercut from Munry could be huge here as he was nearly outside the DRS range, and we've seen time and time again on this game that an undercut can gain you a lot of time, so maybe just breaking the DRS is his plan as Zonix gets a penalty, and now Chillo's going to go down the inside through the long right-hander. He's going to go side by side with the Ferrari, but Mahavir still holding on, but they're just bleeding more and more and more lap time as we go further into this lap, and this battle is really heating up here as we head towards the second stint of this race. The gloves are already coming off here, and we're not even halfway through this Tier 1 race, and the penultimate race is looking very interesting as we get further and further in.
Yep, and Oxchillo so close to Mahavir there. I wonder if any of the drivers are going to pit. Big Mannery found himself the perfect gap to pit into. He's 7 seconds with nowhere near any car on the track. So he is able to gain time without any issues. So the championship rival is going to respond, as is Oxchillo, as is ZK, as is Rapid Mickey. So what are the guys going to do behind? What about Fat Ferret? He comes in, so does Zonix. And Guga is going to stay out. He's on the hard tyres. And SV's stayed out as well. So, interesting there. But all the drivers in the pits, anyone getting a wing change, we'll have a look. And Mahavi is just ahead of Oxchillo after the pit stops. And right behind them is ZK and Mickey, who are just right in the mix as well. Fat Ferret seems to have gained a bit of time on that pit stop. It's going to be interesting out of the pits here as Big Munnery has cleared these drivers easily. He's 3 seconds up the road, and is that going to be a crucial moment in this race where he's broken the DRS? These four are still in the train. Can Big Munnery hold that pace for the foreseeable future, or will all these guys be able to reel him in?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see with Mahavir leading the train as well. Will Oxchillo continue to fight as hard as he was on that in-lap, I think, is the question we've got to be asking here. As actually, Chillo's just made a little bit of a mistake, drops off a little bit from Mahavir, but nothing significant enough to change the way that this race might end up panning out as Globdrip gets a 3 second. But Mickey, over the course of a stint, was able to stay with all of these top Tier 1 drivers. It's really, really nice to see here under the lights in Qatar. We're seeing Mickey really show what he's capable of, but he's steered clear of the fighting, I think. He knows that this isn't his fight. He's a Tier 2 driver. He's just hanging on to the DRS and playing his pace when he can, and he will just try and pick up the pieces if something goes wrong.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to pick his moment as the leaders come into the pits of Campbell Adams. SV's also come in, as is... Juicebox isn't there yet. I thought he might have come in, but... yeah, Guga is now in the lead of the race for the moment as Campbell Adams comes alongside. Grateful Dog is going to be just behind him. Not exactly where Campbell Adams will want to be. Big Mannery has closed the gap to 10 seconds. Sorry, is nowhere near him, is what I should say. I thought it was about 4 seconds, but Campbell Adams has now gotten past.
This contact, sorry to cut you off there, J-Man, but ZK and Mahavir went side by side. There's even more contact, and there was carbon fibre there for sure in the air as they're rubbing wheels. Mahavir is really squeezing ZK here, and there's contact, and that is ZK just able to hold it together. But that's another crucial moment in this race as he's lost the DRS to Chillo now. He's just back with inside of it, but that was really close racing between those two. There was some twitching down the straight, some contact through turn 1 and through turn 2, and it just continued on before we saw that moment we saw in front of us. And ZK now is really going to have to push hard, but just a little bit of hard racing that went a little bit too far there, I think, between those two.
Yeah, ZK saw his opportunity to try and help out his teammate a little bit. He knows the one position in this race could mean the difference between a title or not. So he's doing everything he can, but that was very, very tight between the two. I wonder if there's any minor damage that has been caused from that. ZK is going to be doing everything he can to be in this 1 second gap, and if he is, it could be a big difference in this race as Globdrip has retired in the pits. It wasn't his day, unfortunately, and Lord Mahavir, he hasn't been the most comfortable so far in this race today, it has to be said, as Oxchillo sets the fastest lap, and look how he's gained on Big Munnery. So that undercut might not have worked out as well for the Mercedes as you would have hoped, because Oxchillo's right there, and ZK has closed in on Mahavir, who's 1.4 seconds behind. So is this the point in the race where Oxchillo really starts to come into his own here and try and pull away and see if he can get that place off the Mercedes as well.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. I think that Chillo is going to close up in that DRS once he can comfortably get in and just run away. He's going to be swapping positions with Munnery, though. Breaking the DRS is very, very tricky to do. So I think we'll just see them scrap away and swap positions constantly. But another thing to keep an eye on here is Mahavir's gap to the DRS range of Oxchillo, as it's been dwindling between 1.2 to 1.5 seconds since he lost it, whereas ZK is right within his. So I think we could see some more scrapping away here in the 15th, 16th, and whatever other laps we have ahead of us, where this is the sort of situation we're looking at as we head into the third sector. The gap is 1.6 seconds now between Chillo and Mahavir, so the third sector really seems to be where Chillo just stretches his legs and gains quite a lot of time, as he's even gained just a little bit on Munnery, but it's not going to quite be the DRS, as Campbell Adams does a 23.4 fastest lap of this race. He's still flying out in the lead, as there's still two drivers in that top 5 area yet to pit, being Guga and Grateful Dog, as ZK is going down the inside here of Mahavir, but actually just clears him before the braking zone, and Mickey is now being put under pressure to close the DRS as well. He's just about staying within it, but it's very, very close. As Mahavir is trying this the long way around to ZK. He didn't want to lose the place, and now he's fighting it back. There was contact between the two of them. Mahavir ran into the back of ZK as we head towards the double right. He's going to go try the inside, but he gets forced a long way around. There's even more contact. Mahavir hitting the back of ZK. They're still side by side. Mahavir getting the move done, and a bit of bumper car action going on here on lap 16.
That was a brave move by Lord Mahavir there, and hats off to him. He executed it perfectly, but it could have gone very wrong very quickly. And he knows how important it is to stay in front of ZK, because the more he spends squabbling with him, the more time he loses to that battle further up. And ZK, this is playing into his hands. This is what he wants. He wants to fight hard. He wants to put Mahavir under pressure. He has been making a lot of mistakes in this race, it has to be said. Is the championship pressure getting to him a little bit? It's these next 13 laps are going to be defining for the season, whichever way it turns out in terms of the Tier 1 championship. So we will see what happens here. It's going to be round 2 here, or round 3. They've had a few squabbles already, as Oxchillo is now back into the DRS of Big Mannery, and Mahavir now 3 seconds behind. Mickey's also caught back up to this fight, but they have been stretched, that initial pack by the pit stop. ZK coming with pace, and he's used up his battery for this as well. He's working hard, and there's contact again. Still more contact. ZK had to work hard to get that position. Mahavir is going to fight it back once again through the first sector without success at this stage. And a better run for ZK. Mahavir nowhere near as close as he was when he made that move on the last lap, but he's braking a lot later than ZK, it has to be said, and to pretty much bumping him along the track at this stage. But ZK working extremely hard here, doing a real job for his Mercedes team, and Mahavir continues to be frustrated all lap long. And ZK still holding him up, and oh, he's hit the back, and he's caught the slide. That was a very, very nervous moment there for Lord Mahavir, and this is exactly what ZK wants. He's not doing anything wrong here, is the Mercedes, but he's just putting pressure on the Ferrari, forcing him into mistakes, and he does get back through there, but I don't think ZK really was too bothered by that, because we're pretty much at the end of the lap now, and he can do the exact same thing again.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to be the continuous game of DRS battle over and over and over again, as this has actually invited SVYT into this fight as well. So the Aston Martin is now going to get back into this fray as well, as Chillo and Munnery swap around, but we're going to stay with Mahavir, who goes all the way to the right-hand side of the straight, goes back to the left-hand side, but ZK is still closing in as we head towards the braking zone. Will he go down the inside? He does go down the inside. He picks his braking point. He gets to the apex first, but Mahavir carries the speed the long way round and is able to hold on to the place quite comfortably. But with SVYT joining the fray as well, I think that he'll be able to get past Mickey pretty comfortably, and then it's going to be a three-way fight for the 5th place, and hopefully the battling doesn't continue to go just that little bit too far, as we don't want anybody else getting caught up in the casualties. But ZK is just playing the perfect Sergio Perez sort of position from back in Abu Dhabi 2021. We saw him defend there, and now we're seeing ZK do something similar, but probably just a little bit further on, as Mahavir trying desperately to break the DRS. He knows it's his only chance here, but I don't think he's going to do it. The gap just still dwindling around 0.5 of a second, and there's 11 laps to go here in Qatar. And I think that Mahavir's chances of closing back up to Munnery are done, so now he's just got to try and hold on to that P5 spot.
Yeah, this is the most important lap of the race, probably to this point for Mahavir. He's got to get away from ZK. He's not done it though. And Mercedes' strategy has been absolutely perfect. This is exactly where they want Mahavir at this stage in the race at lap 19, because ZK has brought that pack behind of Mickey, SV, and Fat Ferret into the game as well to potentially make that move. And Mahavir's made a mistake out of the final corner, and ZK's through. And you got to watch out, because here come SV and here comes Mickey. SV down the inside, and it's going to be tight, and there's contact again, and SV is now in front. And I'm just in awe at the moment of this racing that we're seeing here at Qatar. SV isn't done yet. He's going to go for a ZK as well, and what a move it was, but it's still going, because here goes Mahavir on ZK around the outside. He gets it done, and this is absolutely spectacular to watch. Ferret joining into the action as well. He's gotten past Mickey. And now SV has jumped all of them, and once again, exactly what Mercedes want, because Mahavir's been brought into the back of this pack, and now at risk of losing positions to these drivers and losing crucial points, as in the meantime, Oxchillo did get past Big Munnery, who are currently being held up by some of the drivers that have been staying out for quite a bit of time. But yeah, this is incredible to watch, and this strategy has worked out really well. We'll see if it continues for the last 10 laps of this race.
Yeah, it's still a pretty long way to go here in this race, and I think it's still too close to call on where Mahavir is going to finish, let alone ZK and Munnery and Chillo. It's all just in big question marks right now, as Campbell Adams, though, is pretty solidified there at the front, 15 seconds out in the lead. He is absolutely rapid, but as we head onto the straight, once again, it's going to be Mahavir attacking SVYT, but SV actually managed to pull quite a gap, and with his 3-second time penalty, he's really putting the burners on, but the DRS is too powerful. Mahavir is going to go the long way around, but SV goes right back down the inside, and they're going to go hold side by side through turn 2. Mahavir on the inside, SV on the outside. They nearly touch, but it's just wheel-to-wheel racing here. Only millimeters between the two of them, and now ZK tried to get involved, but Mahavir is going to try this the long way round. Now ZK tried to show the nose as we head through the second of the two double right-handers and towards the hairpin. Will we see an attempt at an overtake? No. SV putting on a stellar defense through the first sector, as ZK right up behind that Scarlet Red Ferrari as we head through the second sector, and surely we'll see that swap around again down the straight, but Mahavir will be getting more and more frustrated as we move further into the final dying stages of this Grand Prix. There's still 9 laps to go, and I think the mistakes will continue to slip in, the anger will continue to get to him, and hopefully for his sake he manages to keep it on the road, and same for ZK and SV and anybody else involved in this fight. But it is heating up here constantly as we head through the final couple of laps of this Grand Prix. It's been an exciting first 21. Now we have 8 to go, and it's still anybody's game here for the end of the, well, it will be P4 once those two come into the pits.
Yep, that's exactly right. And now we go again. This has been absolutely fantastic to watch. No major incidents yet, which has been incredible considering how close the racing has been here. But here we go again. SV, similar defense. He knows it's not going to be easy this time. ZK gets involved. Com United's retired in the pits. That won't affect this battle. And Lord Mahavir has gotten past SV with DRS. ZK thought about it for a moment. SV knew he didn't have the advantage he had in the previous lap, so just stayed behind there for the moment. And now Mahavir, he's at the front of this pack. He's got to put in a hot lap here pretty much if he wants any chance of catching up anywhere close to where Munnery and Oxchillo are. He has got to absolutely nail this, but I don't think it's going to be possible for Mahavir at the moment. It's only 0.3 the difference, and he's just got to hope that he finishes at the front of this pack. But ZK and Munnery will be hoping he finishes all the way back behind the likes of Ferret and Mickey, who are at the back of this train, which is definitely a possibility. You could really raffle these positions for the middle order. And also Guga and Grateful Dog is a battle they're about to come up on, and this could cause some complications here. They should be coming to the pits any time now. They've been out the whole race on hard tyres, which has been a pretty impressive effort. But now Mahavir is going to pick up some DRS from them. So can this be an advantage for the Ferrari as they go down the main straight? And they're going to continue to stay out here, are the Aston and the Kick Sauber. Hopefully they clear the way quite quickly here, but Mahavir now goes, oh, that's a late move by Guga. ZK just makes his way through, and there's contact again here. The Sauber's now kind of in the way, And through goes Mahavir, through goes ZK, and those two get clear, and a big snap for Grateful Dog allows Fat Ferret into the battle as well. Yep.
Yeah, SVYT with the spin, that brings him back into Type N. TJ's Fat Ferret is now getting involved in this little squabble with the drivers that haven't pitted. Mickey wasn't able to get through, but it was a very late move down the straight by Guga, which nearly ended up damaging ZK's race quite significantly. Same with Mahavir, because it forced ZK to take evasive maneuver, and then I think he didn't even mean to go down the inside of Mahavir that time. He just ended there trying to dodge the Aston. But as we are on lap 22, Kawisha's retired from the session on the track. Will it cause anything here late in this Qatar Grand Prix?
Nah.
No, it won't. Sadly, that would have been absolute scenes here in the end of this Tier 1 race. That would have caused absolute pandemonium if that had been a safety car.
Yep, thankfully it's still going, because this race has been fantastic even without the intervention of a safety car. Guga's gone off the track there, so Fat Ferret's been allowed through, but that little interruption there has left ZK and Mahavir back where they were, which is alone in their own little battle, and ZK is going to try and do the job here of bringing him back to Mickey and SV, and Ferret as well, but SV's a little bit further back. ZK makes the move into turn 1, and now let's see how ZK goes here. Is it going to be a quick lap, or is he just going to try? Oh no, he's run wide. Mahavir, here we go, wheel to wheel again, and the Mercedes just would have been a bit of a nervous moment there, but Mahavir is still there in the first sector here, tries to cut underneath. There's not enough room to do that at that corner, and now Mahavir is stuck behind, and Ferret all the while is gaining back on this battle. So the order is resumed as Guga and Apex both came into the pits there, and now they're at the back of the field. And look at how ZK is doing a professional hold-up job here on the Ferrari. He did this before, and now he's doing it once again. So we'll see how this comes into effect on the late stages, as there's a bit of contact there, and that's damage for Lord Mahavir as well. That's the end plate gone. So that is a big moment there for the Ferrari, and he is going to have to be careful now, because that damage could really hurt him, and ZK hanging on to that position, but Fat Ferret's right there. Oh, big contact, and ZK is still there, and Fat Ferret almost had a look down the inside, and now it could be a big three-car battle coming down this main straight.
Yep, as so Mahavir leading the way this train with his end plate damage, with Fat Ferret now being a buffer between ZK and Mahavir, but the Haas is going to take his opportunity with the DRS enabled. He's going to go sailing to the left-hand side. Where will ZK go? He goes all the way to the right of the straight. They're 3 wide towards the braking zone. Now there's contact between the championship leader and the Haas and the Mercedes. ZK continues to lead this train. Mahavir managed to get his car back in check, but that was an absolutely huge moment here on lap 24, and that is damage for ZK as well. Now Mahavir's trying it all the way to the right hand side, and now ZK trying it the long way around. They're both missing end plates, but both on the opposite side of their front wings, which means they're going to be different pace at different corners, and Mahavir now leading this train again. This invites Mickey right here. Fat Ferret will now see his opportunity as well, but that was absolute pandemonium at turn 1, and I'm sure that will continue as this race goes on. ZK really struggling, Mahavir not so much.
Oh, the gloves are well and truly off here on lap 24, and now who's going to be able to drive better with this damage? All the drivers behind ZK and Mahavir are going to be very impatient trying to make their way through. They're going to try and take advantage of this opportunity, but it's going to go on for another lap here between these two, because ZK's just hung on. I don't know how these two haven't picked up penalties yet, because they're both going off the track at almost every corner, and as I say that, Fat Ferret now has 3 seconds. And ZK continues to go off the track, continues to avoid a penalty. Big Manry now back past Ochillo. A poor corner from ZK. Mickey was having a look down that inside. It's a long way to catch up. Fat Ferret now making the move on Mickey. Is he going to try and make another one? What about ZK? Has he got the pace? He's using all the battery he has. Here he goes down the inside. The gloves are off. It's a late break. Mahavir saw it coming though and broke a bit earlier and cut back underneath. That was a really crafty move. This is now a train of 6 cars that are involved, and it's anyone's game here for P4 in this race. The podium is set in stone, it looks like, as Big Manry is provisionally in P2. If he can get that P2, it's going to be huge for the championship. But this is also huge for the championship. Mahavir's still hanging on. There's battling going on behind, wheel to wheel. Round goes Type N. TJ. I'm not sure if that was contact or if he lost it himself. He was very close there with Fat Ferret. But on lap 25, one car drops out, and now it's a train of 5, and Mahavir all of a sudden is almost a second ahead of ZK.
Yep, so I think that his damage is probably just a little bit better than ZK's. I think the side of the damage is also really crucial, with Mahavir being less affected with the left-hand side end plate on ZK's car, definitely causing him a lot less corner speed than Mahavir's right-hand side damage, which is really unlucky for ZK, as I'm not even sure what happened at turn 1. It looked like Fat Ferret kind of chopped across the nose, which sent Mahavir spearing off to the right, which sent him into the back of ZK, but that'll obviously be reviewed after the race. But now we head back onto the straight, and Ferret is going to try and make a move into the P5 place. This is also crucial for the constructors as well. Campbell Adams leading the way. It's crucial for Mercedes to get a good result for the constructors, as SV is now going to go down the inside on Fat Ferret, but isn't able to pull up alongside, but he gets it done on ZK, who's just dropping further and further down the order with his damage. He's really struggling. Mickey trying to get involved now as well as we head through the end of the first sector, and Munry is sitting right behind Chillo as well, but we'll continue to stay with this battle as Ferret is right up behind Mahavir, which could bring Mahavir right back into the clutches of the battle pack behind him of SV and ZK and Ferret himself, which could be really, really, really interesting here. There's only 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix. It's lap 26 to 29, and it took a very long time for the carnage to arrive, but it definitely did in a spectacular fashion between Ferret, Mahavir, and ZK, who's finding himself really struggling even to stay within the DRS of SVYT. So the Mercedes damage is really, really hindering him here, as we continue to look at Fat Ferret, who's putting the pressure onto the back of Mahavir, but SVYT goes down the inside of the triple right. What a move, what commitment there from SVYT, who's now going to try it on Mahavir, but there's a little bit of contact there, and SV went nearly spinning off, but now he's side by side with Ferret as they head around the final corner. Now SV is one of the final cars that's really, really fast in this race that has no damage in this train, so now he's going to try to get a move done on Mahavir as we head down the straight. It's going to be Aston versus Ferrari here as we head on to lap 27 to 29, and here we go. SV in the DRS. Will he go down the inside? He does go down the inside. He moves up into 4th place, but they're still side by side. Mahavir isn't able to hold on to the place. ZK's back in P6 right up behind the Ferrari as well, and ZK is going to be putting the pressure on as much as he can, and SV is going to now defend like a lion with his penalty.
Yeah, wow. So, great move by SV, and that's not what Mahavir wanted. He'd prefer to have ZK behind with that damage. It gave him a little bit of a buffer, but as soon as that move was made by SV, Lord Mahavir became a sitting duck there, really. But all the drivers without damage have penalties. So the drivers with damage don't have the penalty, but the ones without do. So that's how you can tell the difference at this stage. But Mahavir is now really closing up on SV. He is driving really well considering the damage that he currently has. But it is the penultimate lap of this race now, or 3 laps to go for these guys still, because Campbell Adams already has crossed the finish line, which is just ridiculous. He's almost a pit stop clear of Munry and Oxchillo. But a poor run from SV there. This is going to be really interesting coming into the last couple laps in this pack. Where is Lord Mahavir going to finish? This is going to be crucial for the championship. We know Munry is going to gain points. The question is how many? And also with after-race penalties that will sure to be taking place as well. But here we go. DRS straight again. Penultimate lap of the race. And SV darts to the inside. He'll be able to break a lot later in the Ferrari. Look at ZK. They're going to both get SVYT, and the battle's resumed between the Mercedes and the Ferrari, and then SV's going to cut underneath all of them. And it's going to be wheel-to-wheel again here. SV around the outside of the Mercedes. Hangs on to the position despite being overtaken by 2 cars. ZK now ahead of the Ferrari again, and he is going to be doing everything in his power to hang on to it. But he's been bumped there by Mahavir, who's gotten the place back, and now ZK has a penalty from being taken off the track there and breaks late. Mahavir cuts back underneath him. There's contact again, and it's really, really tense here. I wonder if that warning might be removed based on the situation there. I think a few warnings might get removed. There's still more contact, and ZK has been pushed out the way by Mahavir, and SV is now 2 seconds up the road as a result of that fighting.
Yep, and I think that SV is going to absolutely check out now, try clear his penalties distance so Mahavir doesn't get the place on him as Fat Ferret goes down the inside. And Fat Ferret also is missing an end plate. I saw it at the final corner going on to the penultimate lap, as now Campbell Adams has started the final lap of this race. SV has absolutely checked out from this train, so we're going to stay here with Mahavir and ZK as they are still next to each other on the racetrack. Mickey as well, sitting in P8, looking to pick up any pieces that come his way, but Mahavir, the only one here in this little train that does not not have a penalty, and he's going to try to use that to his advantage, and I'm sure that ZK is going to try and force the issue as we head down towards turn 1. Ferret is now going to lose out to Mahavir, who takes back the P5 spot. He's 2.3 seconds behind SVYT, who doesn't have any damage. Will SV be able to find the time is the question, as Taipan moves up into P8 even after his incident. So Mickey having a little bit of trouble here in the dying stages of this race, as Mahavir is not under any pressure, but Taipan TJ is trying to look down the inside of ZK, and Mickey is not letting that happen though. As we head down towards the hairpin, Taipan pulls to the left hand side. He's going to bomb it on ZK from a long way back. They pull up wheel to wheel, and ZK, oh, there's a little bit of contact. Taipan goes spearing off to the left hand side. He's going to try this the long way round on the Mercedes, gets that one done. Campbell Adam takes the win from an absolute country mile in the distance. Oxchillo is going to round the final corner with a penalty and pick up P2 on the track. P3 post penalties. Munnery is going to be the one who gets P2, and I think that SV made a mistake because Mahavir is right back in it here in the final lap of this Grand Prix. So SV will be kicking himself just a little bit, as Mahavir will pick up the P4 place and not lose too much out to Munnery, as Mickey gets another 3-second time penalty, and it's going to be ZK who will come home in P8. Unfortunately for him, after getting damaged, Taipan TJ will get P7, but Mahavir rounds the final corner. He's going to get the P4 place from SV, who takes the checkered flag with a penalty. Then Fat Ferret gets P6 as that's ZK spinning across the line. Taipan TJ P7, ZK P8, Mickey P9, and then you have Zonix in P10, and then Grateful Dog and Guga, who have been hitting each other constantly. I've seen on the minimap continue to just battle away here. They're just messing around, I think, here at the back. They knew their race was more than over, but Campbell Adams, nearly by 20 seconds, takes the victory here under the lights.
Yeah, what a win for Campbell Adams there. An awesome performance and a comfortable win in the end. And that is his third win of the season as well. And what a big one it is for RB. And I believe they're going to make a slight gain on Mercedes as a result of that race. But yeah, a lot of penalties involved. In the end, it was a 6-point gain for Big Munnery provisionally. Obviously, there is a lot of factors to be discussed after the race as well in terms of penalty removals and that kind of thing. I'm sure there'll be a few drivers that will be having a look at that. But yeah, so Big Munnery with a 6-point gain. That'll close the championship down to just 11 points the difference going into the final race. So it's well and truly on in the Tier 1 Championship, and we will go on to Brazil, the final round. None of the 4 championships that could have been won today were finished today, and it will all go down to the final round.
Yep, and it's going to be really, really, really tense, as I can already see the Tier 1 chat going off a little bit, but now we got post-race interviews for this race, and I dare say it's going to be quite interesting. Yes,
and driver of the day.
Well, Campbell Adams.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, 19.9 seconds out in the lead. Who else are you going to pick?
Yeah, so I think that's a fair one. Fat Ferret had a great race too, I think it must be said. One of his better performances of the season. I think he must like Qatar a bit.
Yeah, I think so. As just getting interviews.
So we're going to move channels.
Yeah, Paddock BC.
Yep.
There's Munnery, there's Campbell, there's J-Man. Now we're just waiting on Oxchillo. There he is. Alrighty. So just quickly get the showroom up, and then we can proceed with the interviews. Oh, come on, F124. Alright, there we go. Leave the session. Showroom, and we'll start off with a McLaren. Alrighty, J-Man, do you wanna kick this one off?
Yes, I do. The third place finisher, Oxchillo, for the moment. A great race from yourself there, a good qualifying as well. So congratulations on that, and a really good race there. It was very intense in that pack between mainly yourself, Manri, and Mahavir at the start. Just talk us through that battle, and your second stint as well seems to be very fast as well.
Yeah, race was okay. I just had an awful start because I cooked my tyres on the formation lap. They were like 8%, but they were still freezing cold. So that cost me. And then I was just trying to play to get second, really. I don't know what Man Rise and KMR Javier were doing at the start. They were backing up playing DRS chicken when it was like lap 3, lap 4. So that was crazy. And then the cars who didn't box were trying to hold us up as well for some reason. And then the pen on the last lap was just, loss of concentration, and it cost me P2, but just a reserve, so doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid performance from yourself today, and I'm sure you'll take something out of that performance. And that penalty at the end, was that a legitimate penalty? Just a lapse in concentration there, as you say?
Yeah, I just had a moment and ran wide. So, got a pen for that. It's just a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, no worries. But congratulations on your podium. It was a very dominant top 3 performance. It seemed you guys were able to gap the rest of the field pretty easily. And I'll palm it off to Lindsay if you've got anything else for Oxchillo.
Just one question. Will you be making an appearance not next Sunday, the Sunday after at the final round for Brazil?
Probably not with the driving that was happening tonight. We'll see.
Alright, well, we'll now move on to the P2 sitter of Big Munnery. So, if the F1 game wants to work. No, it doesn't want to work. What's new? Hold on. There we go. Mercedes. Alrighty, so Munnery, mate, P2. It's a pretty crucial position in the championship considering where Mahavir finished. Just walk us through your race a little bit. That first stint battle was quite entertaining, but definitely very hard racing. Just walk us through it a bit.
Yeah, qualifying wasn't optimal and crashed out on my final lap due to someone sitting on the racing line for some reason. And yeah, Mahavir qualifying right behind me wasn't optimal, so I knew I just had to try and stay ahead of him at turn 1, and I was able to get a good run on Oxkillo up to turn 1 and was kind of just able to go side by side with him. And yeah, I wasn't really doing anything too crazy. I was just trying to be ahead of Mahavir at all times, and I don't know why he was braking in corners where you don't brake and being as slow as he was through the corners, trying to back me up. But I mean, that's for the reports. But yeah, not too shabby. P2. Unfortunate for Ox on that penalty. I had a big moment on the second final lap, I believe it was, and I thought it was just P3 for me. So yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, as going into Brazil in 2 weeks' time for the title decider, how are you feeling going into that?
Yeah, I like Brazil. I'm pretty quick there, so I think I can pull out a good result. Hopefully, win the championship there.
Yeah, alrighty. As Jamin, do you have any questions for Mr. Big Munnery?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid performance from yourself today, and a nice little undercut there, pitting a little bit earlier than everyone else. You found a very nice gap for yourself in the lower midfield there, so I thought it was a pretty nicely done strategy there today, and obviously your teammate gave you a bit of a hand as well. So how are you feeling going to the last round? Are you confident? You've got 11 points to gain at this stage. Provisionally, it could be more, could be less. So how are you feeling going to that one?
I'm pretty confident I can win that race. Honestly, I have ZK who's been backing me ever since he's been my teammate. He's an amazing teammate. Has always helped me. And yeah, if he's able to just defend for me like he has in the past races, then that would be very optimal for my race. And yeah, hopefully win the championship.
Yeah, well done on the P2. That was a big result for your season and continues the championship to the final round. And in the meantime, someone who didn't really have to involve themselves in any of the action today, it was a leisurely Sunday stroll for Campbell Adams. Finished in P1 today, pole position, grand slam, fastest lap. What else could go wrong?
It was a decent race from my side. Didn't do too much wrong. Made a few mistakes. Put too little fuel in. Had to save fuel for that basically whole last stint. Didn't even realize that I was almost out. So was a little bit worried then. So just had to save a bit of fuel. But nah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a very comfortable performance from yourself, and obviously a big contribution to the overall Constructors' Championship and your third win of the season as well, which I'm sure you'll be pretty happy about. And it helps extend that lead for RB in the Constructors' Championship, so I'm sure you'll be pretty happy about that as well.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm not fighting for anything other than just helping the team with the Constructors. So anything I can help with, I'm happy with.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And I'll hand it back over to you, Lindsay, for any final questions.
Yeah, he just kind of strolled away, as J-Man said, but then touching up on the race for 2 weeks from now, the finale at Brazil, do you see yourself making an appearance and trying to do something similar?
Yeah, I'll most likely drive unless I have something on, but I don't see why not.
Yeah, and how comfortably you're around Brazil?
Well, last time I had a race there, it didn't go to plan, but I if I put some practice in, maybe I'll be all right.
Alrighty, well that's good to hear. So that is going to finish off the penultimate round here in ORL Tier 1 and Tier 2. So the day is done here on a Sunday Arvo and heading into the night time. But that is all for ORL tonight. The real life F1 qualifying is at 9:30, so in 3 hours from now. If you were wondering when that is, so just keep an eye out for that one. But ORL is going to be signing off for the night. Congrats to the winner, all the podium sitters, and everybody else in between who feel happy with their result. And yeah, that is going to be